Today we'll be learning on finding the roots of a cubic function. Before we start our discussion, there's some things that we need to remember, be familiarized with, because we'll be encountering these topics for solving, factoring quadratic functions, and synthetic division. For synthetic division, I believe I actually made a video about this some time ago that I'll quickly link down below or in the comment section. As for factoring quadratic functions, I'm going to check in my channel later if I made some proper videos for this topic. Let's start off by finding the possible rational roots, or we can simply refer to them as PRR. How are we gonna do this? Well, with this formula, not really a formula, but P over Q. What's P exactly? This is the constant, also known as like the only number in the equation without the variable, which is this. This is our constant, -3. And Q is the leading coefficient. What do I mean by this? X cube is our leading, variable. Leading term, sorry. And since x is equal to 1, that would result in our q being equal to 1. Let's add -3. Next thing we'll do is we're going to find the factors of -3 and 1. Sorry, let me make this a bit smaller for some more space. We have plus, the factors of -3 of course are +1, plus or minus 1, and plus or minus 3. And for 1, we have, of course, the only factor of 1 is 1. Next, we're going to be dividing this in order to get our possible rational roots. 1 divided by 1, of course, is just 1. 3 divided by 1 is just 3. These are the possible rational roots. By the way, don't get confused. These are actually 4 numbers. These are 4 numbers because remember, plus or minus is +1 and -1, and plus or minus 3 is +3 and -3. Out of these 4 possible rational roots, however, only 3 of them are the actual roots, since this is a cubic function. How are we going to find these 3 roots? Well, we're gonna do the synthetic division. We'll select one number to try. Let's try -1. Please try to familiarize yourself with synthetic division, since this will play an essential role in this topic. We'll get the coefficients of the dividend: 1, 3, -1, and -3. Let's bring down 1. 1 times -1, -1. 3 minus 1, 2. 2 times -1, -2. 1 minus 2, or -1 plus -2, -3. -3 times -1 is 3. -3 plus 3 is 0. For a quick review, this 0, or the last number here, is the remainder. If it means 0, that means this is a root of x cubed plus 3x squared minus x minus 3. How are we going to find the other roots? Well, we can simply try out these ones, but that may take a lot of time and be a bit tedious. But there's another way we can actually do it. We can simply take this quadratic function and factor, or the depressed. Since this is x cubed, this number, this 1 will turn into x squared plus 2x minus 3. And this is where factoring quadratic functions becomes a part of here. Oh, by the way, not just factoring, also if this equation is not factorable, you would have to use the quadratic formula, which is x minus negative b over b squared minus 4ac over 2a. This is the quadratic formula. But since this is factorable, it's not required to use it. So we can just simply factor for this equation. Let's get the factors of c, or negative 3. We have negative 1, plus or minus 1, and plus or minus 3. Let's find a number that when you add or subtract, it will result in 2, which is our b. The numbers for that are negative 3 and negative 1. Why? Because 3 minus 1 is 2. And if we factor, or if we multiply, 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Let me make this a bit smaller so that it won't consume a lot of our space. Wait. Let's create two parentheses, add x on both sides, and add our numbers. Oh, by the way, just in case you're unsure, we can check by simply doing the FOIL method, which includes the first, inner, outer, and last terms. We can just simply check by solving the inner and outer terms. 3 times x is 3x. X times negative 1 is negative x. 3 minus 1, or 3x minus x, is 2x. Since it's the same as here, we can safely say that this is the correct factored form. But before we continue, let's find the roots or transpose. And remember to change the sign of the number when you transpose. These are now the other roots. But how can we be sure? If you are unsure, let's try the synthetic division once again. Negative 3, 1, 3, negative 1, negative 3. Let's bring down 1. 1 times negative 3. We have negative 3, of course. 3 minus 3 is 0. And remember, any number multiplied by 0 is always 0. Negative 1 plus 0, negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 3 is 0, of course. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3, sorry. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. And remember, since the remainder is 0, this is a root. Let's try the last one, which is 1. Bring down 1 again. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 plus 1, remember the positive 1, the invisible 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 times 1 is 4. Negative 1. Wait, sorry. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3. Sorry. Then we have 3 times 1 is 3. Oh wait, this should be negative, sorry. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. And since this remainder is 0, this is also a root. So the roots of a cubic function, or for this one, are negative 1, negative 3, and 1. I'll do another video about solving this. Just this time, however, we'll be using quadratic like formula when it comes to factoring the quadratic function. I hope you're able to at least learn something.